Hello everyone, welcome to day 23rd of November Lead Code Challenge, and I hope all of you are having a great time. Let's walk through today's question. Today's question is largest component size by common factor. In this question, we are given an array of integers and we need to identify the size of the largest connected component that is present in the graph. How can we identify connected components? There is a simple rule that is specified in the question. It says that two elements are supposedly connected with each other if they share a common greatest factor GCD greater than 1. So let's take one example and let's try to understand it. We have 4, 6, 15, 35 as the input array, and 4 and 6 are connected with each other by virtue of the GCD that comes out to be 2, which is greater than 1, and hence we can say that 4 and 6 are connected. How can we say that 6 and 15 are connected with each other? They are connected by virtue of 3. The GCD between these two elements is 3 and hence they are connected. 15 and 35 are connected with each other by virtue of 5 because GCD of these two elements is 5 and it's greater than 1. Hence, all these four elements get connected with each other because one is connected with other by some virtue, other is connected by other with another virtue. Therefore, they form a common component. As a result of it, what is the largest size of this component? The largest size of this component is 4, which is the answer to this example. Let's take one more example here. We are given 20, 50, 9, 63. So let's try and form groups. The first two elements is 20 and 50. They're connected with each other by virtue of 10. The GCD of these two elements is 10. 9 and 63 are connected with each other by virtue of 3. The GCD of 9 and 63 is actually 9. And you'll also observe that 9 is not connected with 20, 9 is not connected with 50, nor 63 is connected with 20, nor 63 is connected with 50. So these two form a separate components independent of each other, and the size of component A is 2, the size of component B is also 2. The maximum possible size that is present out of this complete graph kind of structure that will get formed is 2. Therefore, the answer becomes 2. Without much ado, let's look at the presentation that I have created for this, and I'll be using union find algorithm. I'll be talking about it in detail, so stay tuned. Let's move on to the PPT where I'll explain these examples as well as the solution. Largest component size by common factor, LeetCode 952. It's a hard level question on LeetCode for those who are unaware of union find approach. For those who are well versed with it, I'll categorize this into the medium category. So let's get started. Let's take a slightly longer example that was also specified in the question. The input array is given to us as something like this: 2, 3, 6, 7, 4, 12, 21, 39. So how do we go about solving this question? So let's try and identify how all of these elements are connected with each other. So let's start the iteration. We have 2. Is 2 connected with 3? It's not connected. So right now both of them will fall into different categories. So let's proceed ahead. Is 2 connected with 6? Yes, 2 is connected with 6. Is 6 connected with 3? Yes, 6 is connected with 3 as well. 6 is connected with 2 as well. Since 6 is connected with both of them, this will make 2 and 3 fall into the same category. So now 2 and 3 will become a single unit along with 6. So now we have 3 elements, 2, 3 and 6, which are connected with each other. Why I'm saying this? The GCD of 2 and 6 is 2. The GCD of 6 and 3 is 3. So they have an indirect relationship with each other, as a result of which these 3 elements form a single group. Let's proceed ahead. Next we see 7. Is 7 connected with any of these 3 elements, 2, 3 and 6? No, it's not. So it will form a different island. Let's proceed ahead. We have 4. Is 4 connected with 2, 3, 6? Yes, 4 is connected with 2. 4 is also connected with 6. We can see that the GCD of 2, 4 is 2. The GCD of 6, 4 is also 2. As a result of which 4 also will lie in this bracket. Is 4 connected with 7? It's not. As a result of which 7 is still treated as an independent island. Let's proceed ahead. Next we see 12. So let's see where will 12 lie. We have 12, GCD of 2 and 12 is 2. It will definitely be part of this particular island. So Let's move ahead. Next we see is 21. 21 seems to be an interesting case. The new element 21 will act as a bridge between these two islands. How? Let's check that up. The GCD of 7 and 21 is 7, which is greater than 1. As a result of which, these two are connected with each other. The GCD of 21 and 3 is 3. As a result of which, these two are also connected with each other. By virtue of this new element 21, the complete two different islands get connected with each other. Now we have a single island 2, 3, 4, 6, 12, 7 and 21 in it. Let's proceed ahead. Next we see is 39. Is 39 eligible to be part of this particular island? The answer is yes. The GCD of 3 and 39 is 3, which is greater than 1. As a result of which, 39 also falls part of this particular island only. So what do we see here? We see that after iterating through all the input array, there is only one island getting formed, and all the complete array is part of the single island or group. As a result of which, since there is only one island and its size turns out to be the total number of elements that we have, and the answer becomes equal to 8. Let's hypothetically assume for a second that after 39 we had a new entry named 41. So let's see where 41 would have landed in this complete graph. You can see that all the elements that are present in this particular island have GCD with 41 equal to 1. There is no common factor between any of these elements with 41. As a result of which, 41 would have formed a separate island altogether with single entry in it. Now we have two islands, one of size 8 and other of size 1. Which one is the larger size? The larger size is 8, and that still remains as the answer. Let's try and now design our algorithm. So let's take the same example that we took here. The elements are 2, 3, 6, 7, 4, 12, 21, 39. We are making connections of every element present in this input array. So consider this as a parent-child relationship. You can either say that 2 is a parent of 4 or 4 is a parent of 2, either ways, but somehow some connection has to be established. So as a default case, let's create all of these elements as independent islands. So we have 2, and 2 is its own connection right now. 2 is its own parent. We have 3. 3 is its own parent. We have 6. 6 is its own parent. 7. 7 is its own parent. 4. 4 is its own parent. 12. 12 is its own parent, and 21 is its own parent. 39 again is its own parent. So right now what we have done, we have taken all of these elements as independent islands, and now let's try to form groups here. So let's take the first element. We have the first element as 2. 2 is a prime number and there is no other factor of 2, so let's skip it. It is still considered as an independent element. And let's proceed ahead. 3, we have 3. 3 is also a prime number. There are no factors of 3. Let's skip it. It's still considered as an independent island. Let's proceed ahead. Next we see is 6. So how many factors of 6 does exist? There are 2 factors which are greater than 1. First one is 2, second one is 3. This is an interesting case. What we will do, we'll try to unify 2 with 6, and then we'll try to unify 3 with 6. So we'll establish connection of 2 with 6 first. So how do we establish the connection? We will simply update this particular connection here. Now 6 parent is pointing to 2 rather than 6 itself, because both of them will be part of the same island. Let's create another connection. We have 3 here. We'll unify 6 with 3. How do we unify? We'll make them part of the same island. So as a result of which, 3 now also points to 2. So how is the structure getting updated to? We have 2, we have 3, and we have 6. Both of them are pointing to 2 now, and 2 still points to 2 itself. Let's proceed ahead. Next we see is 7. So 7 is a prime number. It will be treated as an independent island. So a new island is formed with 7 in it. Next we have is 4. Let's build the factors of 4. How many factors exist? There is only one factor, which is 2, and the other one is 4 itself, of course, but we are looking for factors lower than the number itself. So there is only one factor, and as a result of which we'll unify 4 and 2 together. So how do we unify? We'll update this connection of 4 with 4 to 4 with 2, as a result of which 4 gets added to this list. Now 4 is also pointing to 2. Let's proceed ahead. Next we see is 12. So let's define factors of 12. The first one is 2, the second one is 3, the third one is 6. So we'll unify 2 with 12, we'll unify 3 with 12, we'll unify 6 with 12. And as a result of which 12 will also start pointing to 2. 12 parent has been updated to 2 by virtue of all these three operations, because 3 also points to 2, 6 also points to 2. Let's proceed ahead. The next element that we foresee is 21. So let's see how many factors are present of 21. The first one is 3, the second one is 7. As a result of which, in the first step we'll unify 3 with 21, and in the second step we'll unify 7 with 21. So let's see what is the absolute parent of 3. The absolute parent of 3 is 2. So what we are going to do, we'll update the parent of 21 from 21 itself to 2 during the unification process. So this gets unified, and now 21 has become part of this first island. Now let's unify 7 with 21. What is the parent of 21? The parent of 21 is 2. What is the parent of 7? The parent of 7 is 7 itself. Due to the unification process, this pointer will be updated to 2 itself. So now we have 2, 3, 6, 4, 21, 7 as part of the first island. Let's move ahead. Next we see is 39. Let's see how many factors are there. The first factor is 3. The second factor is 13. So let's unify 3 with 39. What is the parent of 3? The parent of 3 is 2. What is the parent of 39? The parent of 39 is 39 itself. So due to the unification process, the parent of 39 will be updated from 39 to 2. So a new edge is getting formed starting from 2 to 39. And the next element is 13. 13 is not part of this answer, so let's skip it. Now we have completed the iteration of all the elements, and what do we see here? We see here that all these elements that are present in this input array have their parent set as 2. So if I count those entries where the parent has been set as a common parent, that would come out to be as 8, and that parent value would be equal to 2. Let's extend the same example and let's take a case where we have a next element as 41, and 41 is a prime number. It is not part of this island. It can't be, because 41 is not divisible by any of these elements, and it will be treated as a sole independent component. 41 parent will remain as 41. Now we have two components, one where all the elements have their parent value set as 2, and other where the parent value has been set as 41. So you'll pick up the one where the maximum parent value has been set, which is 8. Now let's try and codify it up. I'll be exactly using the same steps as I talked here, where we are updating the parent array every time. And guys, I'll be sharing a generic template that will help you in a longer run. So learn that template. That template never changes. Yes, that template never changes. Learn it by heart. It will act as a Bible for you in all the union find approaches. So let's move on to the coding part. Let's talk about the algorithm first, and then we will talk about this helper union find class. So here I have taken a max variable, and I iterated through the complete array and identified the maximum element that was present in this input array. Then I created a new union find instance and I passed in max plus 1 to it. I'll tell you why I am doing it when we'll go through the union find core class. Now let's start the iteration. For each element that is present in the input array, I calculate with all the factors of I, and if I modulus j is divisible by 0. Here I have defined a new array that will store the parent for each element part of union find. And now I have defined a constructor. It accepts an integer value n. It initializes parent array and to new integer type of size n, and each element will point to itself. Parent of I will become equal to I. And now let's talk about two helper methods. The first one is get absolute parent and other one is unification. So let's talk about the unification method first and then we'll move on to the get absolute parent thing. We have two elements. The first one is element I, the second one is element j. We go and identify the absolute parent of I and the absolute parent of j. If these two parents are unequal, then we set parent of absolute parent of j equals to parent of I. You remember from the presentation that we saw parent of 7 to be pointing to 7 and parent of 21 pointing to 2. Now we want to unify 7 and 21. How do we do that? We update the parent, we identify the absolute parent of 7, which comes out to be 7. We identify the absolute parent of 21, which comes out to be 2. And in the unification process, in this if check, we update this 7 absolute parent from 7 to 2. This is how unification works. Now comes the question, how do we actually identify the absolute parent? It's simple and straightforward. You remember from the presentation that we saw parent of 7 to be pointing to 7 and parent of 21 pointing to 2. Now we want to unify 7 and 21. How do we do that? We update the parent, we identify the absolute parent of 7, which comes out to be 7. We identify the absolute parent of 21, which comes out to be 2. And in the unification process, in this if check, we update this 7 absolute parent from 7 to 2. This is how unification works. Now comes the question, how do we actually identify the absolute parent? It's simple and straightforward. You remember from the presentation that I stored 2 as an absolute parent of 2 itself over here. Let me just start it. Over here I stored 2 as an absolute parent of 2 itself. However, in the actual code, we use the indexes to represent parents, not the actual values. And this is what I have done here while initializing my union find input constructor. And whenever we see that the parent of I happens to be equal to I, we return the value of I, telling that this is the absolute parent. Absolute parent. Otherwise, we go and recursively check what is the absolute parent of my parent and assign that value to the current element, and in the end we simply return that value, whatever we got while traversing up the ladder. Let's try this up. Let's see what happened. Accepted. It's 60 times better, which is pretty good. I'm satisfied with this time complexity. This brings me to the end of today's session. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for viewing it. Have a great day ahead and stay tuned for more updates from Coding Decoded. I'll see you tomorrow with another fresh question, but till then, goodbye. Also, don't forget to learn this algo.